All right, guys, happy Monday. Today is Wholesale Hotline pre-show. So I'm super excited to be here. I'm super excited to get started. So we're pretty much just going to dive into this, and then we're going to get the ball rolling. We're going to get some comments going. But basically what this is we are bringing back the Wholesale Hotline pre-show, right? So we are here to talk all about driving for dollars. I know, Pace, Brent, and Jamil, the number one question they get from an acquisition standpoint is, how do I get started, right? How do I get my first deal? And that's what I'm here to do, is to actually highlight how to get your first deal, right? And we are going to be talking about driving for dollars moving forward. Not this Monday, but the next Monday, we're going to have, success stories, people that are actually, doing consistent deals using the BatchDriven app. So I'm super excited. For those of you that don't know who I am, maybe this is your first time tuning in. My name is Bryce Herrera, and we are going to be talking all things driving for dollars. So before we get started, I really want this to resonate with a lot of people. I know when I first got started in the real estate journey, it was a struggle for real. And I want it to resonate with everyone in here. So in the comments, guys, do me a huge favor. Let me know by a show of hands or typing in me, who in here has not done their first deal? Who in here is still struggling? Who in here has not done their first deal? Because I want to tie it all back in, and I want this to make sense as to why driving for dollars is such a great way to get started. So guys, please, in the comments, if you guys have not done your first real estate transaction, your first real estate deal, let me know in the comments so that we can squad up. Okay, there we go. We got quite a few people in here that have not done their first deal. So guys, thank you for participating. That means a ton. So I want you guys to actually be squatting up, in the comment section. I want you guys to, be comfortable with squatting up, asking questions and that sort of thing. So today what we're going to talk about is my story and why you guys should even be listening to me right now, right? So this is actually pretty perfect timing because Cody Barton is going to be the guest tonight starting at 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. And when I got started, this was a few months back, Cody Barton was on Steve Trang's podcast. And on that podcast, Cody was talking about how he got started. Right. And there was no need for me to reinvent the wheel. I just knew I had to practice and I needed to do something that someone else was doing to get my first deal. So that's exactly what I did. Right. Cody Barton was saying that for him to do his first few deals, he was driving for dollars. And I would say that's how 80% of people actually get their first deal, is from driving for dollars. Right. So what Cody was saying, and I took this to heart, I did exactly what he said to do, is he was adding 25 to 30 properties per day, and then he would go back home and cold call them, right? So for me getting started, there was this shiny object syndrome where I had no idea what applications I needed. I thought I needed, all of these different services, but they really honed it in for me and made it super easy to understand that the only application that you need to get your first deal is driving for dollars using the BatchDriven app. So I just did exactly what Cody said to do. I started driving for dollars in East Mesa because that's where I knew Pace and Cody were buying deals. And I was adding 25 to 30 properties every single day, 6 days a week. And I would go home and before I'd get out of my car, I would call these people because I was too embarrassed to do so in front of my family. Right. So hopefully my story resonates with you guys. I'm seeing a ton of people that haven't done their first deal. And this is what, they all talk about, how you get your first deal, right? And I would say all of them say to do it driving for dollars, right? So after, a few days, I was making mistakes, people were telling me to get a real job, this sort of thing. I just stayed consistent. I added these properties every single day, 6 days a week. Finally, after the 8 weeks, it took me 8 weeks to get my first deal. I leveraged Pace and Cody, right? I leveraged someone that was actually doing the business, and I brought that motivated lead, that motivated seller to them, and they actually helped me close my first deal, right? So I'm very consistent. I might not be the best at sales. I might not be the best at this and that, but one thing that I can tell you is that I'm going to be the most consistent. right? I'm going to be there every single day. I'm going to be driving for dollars. I'm going to be talking to people just like Brent, right? So that's how I got started in this journey. And then after I sold that deal to Pace and Cody, they wanted me to team up with them. And I was actually, the sub 2 students are going to know this, I was calling the no excuses program, right? So I was talking to warm and hot leads, and I was locking up creative finance deals. And it all started just by me taking action and by me being consistent and adding these ugly houses to my driving for dollars list, right? So that's what we're going to be talking about from here on out is, driving for dollars, how you get your first deal. And I would say this is going to be the perfect solution for a lot of people. Maybe you work a 9-to-5 job, you can drive for dollars virtually. Maybe you have more time, right? You guys can go out there and add properties. I added 73 houses to my driving for dollars list just today, right? In the span of an hour and a half while listening to a podcast, right? So I think this story is going to resonate with quite a few people. And I really just want, to be here as a support system, right? That's why I'm getting paid. I'm getting paid to help you guys. I'm here to, answer any questions. So what we're going to talk about is why you guys need to drive for dollars, right? So when you're driving for dollars, the whole concept behind it is to add these small custom niche list of these houses that are super distressed, right? So before you guys start driving for dollars, I want you guys to think of 4 things before you add it to your driving for dollars list. And if you guys haven't already, what you guys could do is you guys can follow me on the BatchDriven app on Instagram, and I'm there as a moral support to help you guys get your first deal, right? I upload stories every single day, and I actually go live 4:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time to help you guys get your first deal, right? So if you aren't already, you guys can follow me on the BatchDriven app on Instagram. I'll type it in the notes. BatchDriven app on Instagram, and I will be there to be a moral support for you guys, right? So if you're looking to get started, this is going to be a great way for you guys to see, what houses I'm adding. I take pictures of the houses I add. I answer all of your questions, and then we do ride-alongs as well. Okay. So what I wanted to highlight today is why you guys should start driving for dollars, right? So the first thing that I realized when I got started is that I did not have a lot of money, right? Hopefully that resonates with quite a few people. Maybe you have a 9-to-5 job, right? So that's the number one reason why people start driving for dollars is because it's cost efficient. You don't need a whole bunch of money to get started in this business. And I got my first deal with $250, right? Half of that was spent on gas. Okay, so that's going to be number one, is it's cost efficient, right? If you guys actually go to the batchdriven.com/squad up, you guys are going to get a 7-day free trial and 50 free skip traces, right? And we know people that have actually gotten their first deal within that first week. So it's going to be super exciting. I just want you guys to be, taking action. I want you guys to be adding these properties. I want to build a community on the BatchDriven app to where every single person is asking questions and is doing deals together, right? So when I got started, the first thing that I liked about driving for dollars was that it was cost efficient, right? You don't need a whole bunch of money to get started within this business. So that's exactly why I started for driving for dollars, right? The second thing is you're also going to create a custom or a niche list, right? So when you're adding these ugly distressed properties to your house, you're not even going to have a lot of competition because no other investors are driving down the same exact roads as you, right? So that was another differentiating factor for me, is when I was calling these people, they weren't being blown up because no one had the same list as me, right? So that's another thing to think about when you're doing this, right? If you're just getting started, you guys can feel free to message me on the BatchDriven app on Instagram, and I will be happy to share with you guys the cold calling script if you don't have one already, right? So that's the second thing, is that there's not a lot of competition and you are creating this custom niche list, right? Another thing that I wanted to add, guys, is when you're driving for dollars, it's going to be super niche. It might be on a high equity list, but do you know how much money it's going to cost to constantly skip trace that list? How much manpower you need to call that list throughout and throughout again, right? So that's the point of driving for dollars, is to create this super niche list of distressed properties that the only two options for these people are going to be either put the money into it themselves or they're going to have to sell it to a cash investor, right? So in the comments, guys, let me know who's utilizing, the BatchDriven app. Let me know who's actually driving for dollars and taking consistent action, right? So those are going to be the main factors as to why you guys should start driving for dollars. It's pretty straightforward. You're just driving. You can do it virtually or you can do it physically, right? You're just adding these super distressed properties that fit the 4 pillars, right? So those 4 pillars, before you add it to your list, are going to be the landscape, right? So the overgrown weeds, it's pretty obvious, right? The overgrown weeds, the dead grass. The second thing that you guys are going to want to add or look for before you add it to your driving for dollars list is the exterior of the house, right? Are there boarded up windows? Is the paint chipping? That sort of thing. The third thing that you guys are going to want to look for is the roof, right? Is the roof in terrible condition? If you guys head over to my story on the BatchDriven app on Instagram, you're going to see a couple houses that need to have their roof replaced, right? Are there blue tarps on it? And then the fourth thing is going to be junk in cars, right? So are there broken down cars on the side of the house? Is there a bunch of junk in the backyard? If it hits 2 or more of those things, then you could add that to your list, right? That's the whole idea, is find the ugliest houses that you can find in your area, and then you're just going to give them a call, right? You're just going to ask them about the situation that they're in, and you guys have the cold calling script to do that as well. Okay, so David says, do we drive in a grid pattern or street by street to be efficient? So it really just depends where you are. I know here in Phoenix, Arizona, it's a grid system. So we will actually just be tracking our routes up and down, trying to find the ugliest properties that we can, right? And just today, in the span of an hour and a half, we actually ended up adding about 73 ugly distressed properties to that list, right? No one else is going to have access to that list, which is why we're pushing this so hard for you guys to start driving for dollars, okay? Robin says 30 properties every day. Yeah, Robin, that is the key, right? To be consistent. Pick a number that you guys can hit time and time again, right? You don't want to start doing 100 properties every single day, because then you're not going to get motivated. You're not going to be consistent. So pick a number, just like 30, 25, 30 properties a day is exactly the exact formula that I did to get my first deal. So Robin, just keep staying consistent. I know you've been out there driving for dollars, so I appreciate you very much. David says, I have not tried BatchDriven yet. Yeah, David, if you download the BatchDriven or go to batchdriven.com/squad up, you're going to get a 7-day free trial, and you're also going to get 50 free skip traces. Okay. So this is how I got my first deal. I would say this is how 80% of people actually get their first deal, right? Just hitting the pavement, driving for dollars, adding distressed properties, and then calling those people, right? That's the magic to this.
Bro.
What's up, Pace?
You're looking great on camera, man. When was the last time I told you how good you are? What are you talking about? I'm interrupting here. What are you talking about? Let's jump into it.
Okay. Yeah. So I was just trying to answer some of these questions. Howard, no. Pace is actually giving me the power to kick you guys out if you guys are using Deal Machine. All right.
That's right. I tell everybody, I'm sorry to say this, but you can send this to David Lecco. If you are using Deal Machine, I'll kick you out. In fact, think about this. Anybody that's actually talking about Deal Machine, like affiliate people, guys that are online, is there anybody actually talking about Deal Machine that actually uses Deal Machine? Literally everybody that pushes and promotes Deal Machine, even like I just saw this on YouTube the other day. Meet Kevin, who I appreciate his content. He's unbelievably good. Meet Kevin is now pushing Deal Machine as an affiliate. And I'm like, bro, you are not driving for dollars. Get out of here. You're making $1 million a month on YouTube and you're pushing Deal Machine. Get out of here, dude. So I've just learned that the reality is not anybody, everybody that's out there talking about Deal Machine and trying to get you to swipe up and all that kind of stuff, they're not actually using Deal Machine. It's a bunch of people just selling a product, but they're great. It's a great thing. But at the end of the day, what I love is that Bryce is actually out in the field every single day. Bryce, did you drive for dollars today?
Yep, I added 72 or 73 properties today.
So go through the process of if you go drive for dollars, the 72 houses you drove for dollars today, where are those going? Are you calling those or is somebody on our team calling those?
So we are actually going to have a VA cold call those, and then I'm going to touch base with like the warm or hot leads.
Love it. So basically the process is step one, you go out, you drive for dollars, and then you pass that, you upload that to somebody. How can I see that? How can I, is there a way that everybody on this live right now, we've got 150 people watching live right now. Is there a way that those 150 people can watch you uploading or transferring those to a cold caller so they can actually see some practical, real life scenarios?
Yeah, let me pull up the BatchDriven app real fast.
Love it. So Josh Weiser, all I'm saying is if you're going to learn how to do real estate, learn from people that are actually doing it. That's all I'm saying. The challenges in real estate, it's not an easy business. It is a challenging business, just like any business. Like name any business that's super easy. The difference is this business has long-lasting effects and you can get big, fat, juicy checks from it. But if you're going to learn from people who are actually doing it or running a team so that when you actually have a question about something practical, somebody has an answer for you, okay? So Emilio says, Bryce is pulling something up, guys, so we'll give him a couple of minutes. Emilio says, can you virtually drive for dollars with BatchDriven? Yes. So Bryce, are you going live every day as it is right now and showing people practical things that you're doing on a daily basis or no?
Yeah. So if you guys follow us on the BatchDriven app on the YouTube channel, I go live every single day at 4:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, and we cover best practices. I talk about my day, how many properties I added, why I added them, and what we're saying to these people, right? So if you guys haven't gotten started, this is a great opportunity for you guys to actually, dive 2 feet in and actually get started driving for dollars.
This is a great question. So Stephen Lundy says, haven't tried the app yet. Are you finding that most or any of the houses you find are also on some pain point list? Check this out, Stephen. What we found a long time ago is that driving for dollars ends up being a very unique list that not many people are actually calling on, right? A lot of times they're not on any list. We call just about every house in Maricopa County, which is where we invest. But I can tell you, these people have like multiple cars and empty pools and all that kind of stuff. They're not on any sort of pain point. So, driving for dollars is a list in and of itself. It stands alone. It does not marry with other people. Now, there are, of course, you drive for dollars and then you batch you stack those together with like foreclosures and stuff like that. You're going to get some overlap. But overall, driving for dollars lists are very unique, which is why it is such an amazing way to get your deal, your first deal, your second deal, or even start scaling your business. Bryce, did I tell you about the 30-day challenge I'm doing?
Is that where you're going to be sleeping on a bench?
Well, at least one night. I'm going to sleep on a bench one night because I got to let's say I land in whatever city. Let's say it's like Greensville, South Carolina or something. And I have to fly in. I fly in at 3:00 in the afternoon and I get dropped off at a park in the middle of town. And I assume that park has a bench. So that first night I'm sleeping on a bench. That next day, my goal is to not sleep on a bench. The next week is to have a house, be living in a house or a hotel. And then ultimately by the end of 30 days, have a real estate deal, if not a couple. And then I'm planning on donating the money. So I have no money. I start literally with no money, no bank account, no debit cards, nothing. I have nothing.
Wow.
Nothing. I have my driver's license and my cell phone, but the cell phone that I use is not even going to be my cell phone. It's going to be a brand new out of the box, no contacts. I can't even call Jamil because I don't know Jamil. I know my wife's cell phone. So I guess I'll know 911 and my wife's phone number, and that's it. So I'm deleting everybody else out of that phone. It'll be brand new, fresh, no contacts. And then I'm going to have somebody document that journey for 30 days and show exactly what it takes. Like, because I get so many people are like, well, what if, and why this? And okay, well, I have a 9-to-5 job, so I can't do this. I'm like, okay. So what I've been doing is I've been asking people, the general public, give me the top 5 biggest excuses of why people can't make this business happen. And one of them is, oh, well, I have a 9-to-5 job. So I even thought about when I first land in, like, let's say South Carolina, I have to go out and get a freaking construction crew job. So I start at 6 a.m., go till like 2 or 3 in the afternoon every single day. And then I have the afternoon only to do real estate. So it's not an unfair advantage that I have all day long. So I'm basically concocting and putting this whole thing together right now so that I can go launch that. And honestly, document it for people and write a book about it and just show people that, hey, this business is incredibly possible. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to be like the David Blaine of real estate, where I do like crazy stunts. Like I did that 16-hour live, then I did the 24-hour live or the 25-hour live. That now it's like, all right, let's go do 30 days where I start from scratch, literally start from scratch, right? Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a brand new wholesaler who's never done a deal before. I'm going to announce a winner, like during that contest, like who was the most supportive, who was involved the most, that has never done a deal before. And I'm going to then go into the fall of the year and I'm going to go team up with them in their market, and I'll be their partner full time for 30 straight days until they get their business going.
That's going to be freaking awesome. And you're pretty much squashing everyone's excuses, right? The people that have a 9-to-5 job that say they can't start because of this, you're going to be the one to squash all of those excuses. Yes.
In fact, I want to impose those excuses on myself. Like, okay, well, I have a wife and kids. Okay, great. So what I was thinking is like, okay, I start on a park bench and I go and figure out how to make money like as fast as I possibly can. And then I call my wife and I go, okay, come out to town. We'll live in like a little roach motel until we get cranking. I don't know. It's like something, I don't want to put my wife through the challenge necessarily, but I also want to do it like to the fullest degree, so that at the end, if somebody says something like, oh, you know what, but yeah, you know, he did it, but I want to be able to impose the top 5 excuses on myself. Aldo Castillo says, me. So guys, we're going to be talking about this over the next couple of weeks on Sunday service, and I'll ultimately choose the city that I'm going to do this challenge during Sunday service. So check it out. Bryce is running the BatchDriven app on Instagram. So every day, guys, he goes live on BatchDriven. Go follow him. He posts on his stories what he's doing through the day. And then at 4:30 every single day, I shouldn't say that. Monday through Friday, Bryce is going live at 4:30 Arizona time. Okay. He's going live. And what are you doing during that live every single day at 4:30, Bryce?
So I pretty much talk about, the best practices, my day, how many properties I added, why I added them. And then we turn it into a Q&A. So if you're just getting started, that's where you're going to come and you're going to start bringing your questions so that I can answer them for you.
Love that. So, really, guys, if you guys are out doing Wholesale Hotline right now, we've got nearly 200 people watching live. The full show starts in about 5-6 minutes. What I would be doing every day while you're listening to Wholesale Hotline, guys, is I would be out every single day during Wholesale Hotline driving for dollars and tagging me on Instagram. So get your butts out in your cars right now. Drive for dollars. Let's multitask. Listen to Wholesale Hotline. Share with your friends. Share it with your family. Share it with every wholesale Facebook group you guys know, and get out there and drive for dollars together. In fact, you guys should be squatting up. You guys should be finding people in your market to go drive for dollars with and listen to Wholesale. You know how dope it would be to have 1,000 people listening to Wholesale Hotline live, and while they're listening, they're all driving for dollars every single Monday together while they're listening to Wholesale Hotline? That would be the freaking coolest.
That'd be sweet.
Couple of good questions, guys. We're going to try and get a couple more questions in here before we go live with Jamil and Mr. Brent Daniels. Michelangelo. That wasn't my favorite Ninja Turtle. My favorite Ninja Turtle was always Donatello or Leonardo because they just had dope weapons. However, Michelangelo was like the coolest of the cool guys. When door knocking, what is the best way to pull the property owner's info out of a tenant or a renter? Well, the good thing is you shouldn't have to pull out the information from the tenant or the renter because you can get it right there on BatchDriven's app. Hey, David Ecat says, how do I watch you? Is it on Instagram or Batch's YouTube? If I want to watch you through the day, it's obviously going to be on Instagram because you're posting on Instagram stories and you're, active on there. And then at 4:30, how do I watch that live show every day?
Yeah, if you guys go to the BatchDriven YouTube channel, and if you guys hit subscribe and set that little timer, I'm going to be going live every single day at 4:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So that's how you guys can find me, is on the BatchDriven YouTube. And then if you guys want to follow along on Instagram, I do a minimum of 10 posts per day. I answer your guys' questions on there, and then we hop on some phone calls if you guys need help. So I'd be more than happy to do that.
Love that. Fearless and Limitless Lifestyle says, I'm on the dialer right now while listening. That's freaking dope. Fago, I should call you Fuego. I did it this morning. 27 properties. Dope. That's amazing. Thank you so much. Kia says, are there areas that are just oversaturated? Atlanta is the home of the bad deal. Are you kidding me? I just bought one of my favorite properties I own in Atlanta. And here's a great lead into that. Benjamin says, if we are virtual, what can we do other than driving for dollars to get started? Okay, driving for dollars is an amazing way to be direct to seller, right? Meaning you and the seller are belly to belly or phone to phone. Another way to get into this business is through maybe doing astro flipping, which is you're going to other wholesalers and helping them disposition or sell their deals to a cash buyer. Another way to do it is utilizing creative finance. In fact, most of my students have such a hard time getting their first deal wholesale that they're like, I'm going to try creative finance. So they go try creative finance. It's like bing, bing, bing. They get multiple creative finance deals because it's way less competitive. So it depends on what you want to do, Benjamin. If you're virtual, what I would do is I would learn a little bit about creative finance, and I would reach out to wholesalers in whatever market you want. And I would say, hey, Mr. Wholesaler, I found you by Googling cash buyer's city name. And I want to know, do you have any dead leads that I can work for you that might need subject to seller finance or any creative finance strategies? That's a really, really easy, free, cheap ass way to go. And I would definitely go that way. Does our team do bandit sign marketing? Bryce, does our team do any bandit signs?
No.
There's a lot of people like Ty out of Birmingham, Alabama. They do bandit signs. There's cities that bandit signs crush it in, and there's cities that bandit signs just don't work in. Phoenix as a whole does not really work. It does work, but it's in like these little pockets of like manufactured homes and stuff like that. So no, our team just doesn't see the benefit. However, I have bought multiple deals from people in Phoenix that used to do bandit sign marketing, and then they realize it's really tough and really challenging, and they stopped doing it. So I stopped buying deals from them. But Aldo Castillo says, how can I get better leads and faster? Dude, that's a really interesting question. Everybody wants that easy button from Staples. Do you remember the easy button commercials, Bryce, or were you not born yet?
Come on. No, I was born.
You remember the easy button commercials?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's looking for that easy button.
Hey, Aldo, you know what to do. Aldo's a TTP family member guy. He knows what to do. You're going to get it. Keep going, Aldo. He's like 19 years old, Pace.
Oh my gosh, man.
He's crushing.
The problem with 19-year-olds is they're full of piss and vinegar, and they have no patience. It's
We're almost ready? Yep.
We're almost ready. So guys, give Bryce some love. Give Bryce some freaking love. Bryce, thank you so much, man. Everybody can tune in on Instagram, BatchDriven app. Go follow Bryce on a daily basis. And then Monday through Friday, Bryce drops bombs at 4:30 every day, giving you guys live support, answering your questions, and keeping you accountable on driving for dollars. Sure. So guys, we're gonna go on a 30-second pause. bring Jamil in.
There we go.
And also, hopefully, Cody Barton, our partner or our guest for the day, is going to be coming in here shortly. And
Jared.
And Jared Frankham. So give us a couple minutes, guys. We're going to go on pause, and we'll see you here in a little bit.
Welcome to Wholesale Hotline, where we cover everything to do with wholesale real estate. I'm Jamil Damji.
I'm Brent Daniels.
And I am Pace Morby.
And together we cover the most important parts of wholesale real estate.
Lead generation.
Conversion of sellers into contracts.
And dispositions. Guys, remember, when you're watching this show, do us a favor and squad up in the comments.
Make sure that you are liking and subscribing to the YouTube channels and in the Facebook group Wholesale Hotline.
Most important, we want to know we're doing a great job for you and helping you build your business. So go give us a review on iTunes and or Spotify.
So squad up and enjoy the show!
Oh, dude.
Dang. Hitting them with the new intro. Hitting them with the new intro. There you go.
That was good. Brent, why don't you take us off? Why don't you launch us off, brother?
Welcome to Wholesale Hotline number 54, the Brian Urlacher of shows here. You have got 90 minutes, the next 90 minutes to bring your questions about everything about wholesaling and get the combined experience of almost 10,000 deals to answer your questions. We want to hear from you. We want you to ask whatever questions, whatever struggles you're going through, whatever challenges you're going through. We want to know about it, and we want to help out right now. This is your shot. So do not be quiet. Be loud in the comments and make sure that you're letting everybody know what market you're working in, because we want you to squad up with other people in the comments so that you've got the right team around you supporting you so that you never feel like you're on an island by yourself. With that, my name is Brent Daniels, Mr. TTP, talking everything lead generation. Next to me here is Pace Morby, talking about how to convert those sellers into signed contracts. And then we've got Jamil JMG, the master of exit strategy, the master of disposition. And for the first time ever, introducing to Wholesale Hotline for the full show, Mr. Cody Barton, to answer all questions. We're going to really break down this business so that you can get the right systems in place so that you are building it with a really strong foundation. And right here, we've got the winner of the Wholesale Hotline contest, Mr. Jared Frankham, all the way from
Lubbock, Texas.
There we go.
Yo.
So we're excited.
Lubbock, Texas.
That's
an
it.
amazing spot.
That's right, Texas Tech.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, you hanging out at the TTP headquarters or what? Or did you guys just work out all day long? Like, what'd you guys do today?
Yeah, we just worked out all day. That's it. Yep. Worked on this business.
That's right.
Yep.
Are you marketing in the Texas market?
Me, yeah.
Anywhere else or just Texas?
Just Lubbock. Just my city.
By the way, Pace, focusing 100% on driving for dollars. He's already closed 30,000. Got another 12 in the pipe closing this week. Great start of the year. All from driving for dollars.
I don't do anything else. Just driving for dollars.
Yep.
Awesome.
Wow,
bro.
Hey, is my audio okay?
Yeah, your audio
your
sounds
audio is awesome.
amazing.
Yeah,
It sounds almost as good as you looked in that fur jacket on the intro, bro.
I've been in it all day. I took it off for the show.
Jared, dude, I'd love to have you on one of our other shows and talk about your driving for dollars journey. Cause I think a lot of people, they hear driving for dollars so frequently that I think sometimes they discount it to the point where like, oh yeah, that's what everybody says. And like, even in the comments today earlier, people were like, is there anything I can do besides driving for dollars? I'm like, it is the most enjoyable thing to do.
Legit. Honestly, like, first off, driving is meditative. It's fun. It's relaxing. You get some good tunes on, listen to a podcast, have a, whatever it is. There's so much you can do when you're driving. I'm right now, I'm reading the same book as my 12-year-old. I spent the day today doing some Jamil stuff, and my 12-year-old daughter is reading a book. And so I spent almost the entire day today catching up so that her and I, when we FaceTime tonight, could talk about the book she was reading. And I thought to myself, what an amazing way to just get out, do some driving for dollars, go check out some neighborhoods, look at some cruddy houses, and do something that is also feeding your mind or feeding your life or feeding your family at the same time. And that's what driving for dollars allows you to do. It's fantastic. It's amazing. Anyone who's got an issue with it, they just don't like working.
Yeah.
Love
and
it.
if you want to get to know your market, how better to get to know where the deals are than to go drive for dollars.
Well, and Texas is a non-disclosure state. So
Yeah.
what are you going to do? I mean, that's how you cut through. That's how you find the most distressed properties for sure.
Can we
Love
all
it.
just comment on how handsome Cody is?
Dang, looking good. Young man. I mean, how old are you, Cody? 20 years old?
26.
Look at this guy. He's got a tiger by his tail. I'm excited about this, Cody, about breaking all this, breaking down the business, breaking down all the little systems in place that you guys are running with, because I think it's really important to get the foundation of understanding that we source opportunities by having quality conversations with distressed property owners, but how do we track it? How do we monitor it? How do we improve on it, right? If it's not trackable, it's not scalable, right? We had this conversation today. So really excited about it, Cody.
100%. Yeah, no, I'm definitely excited to get into it as well. And it seems to be a bottleneck for a lot of people. And, for something, because I'm an integrator, it came more naturally to me as, systems and, tracking some of this stuff. But it's really, the foundation for the business, because if you don't know what the heck is going on, how can you make any changes? So I'm definitely excited.
Can I intro Cody, because he is my partner? I want to give you guys a full intro of this man. Cody allows me to do all sorts of crazy stuff all day long because of how good he is at integration. Jamil has an integrator at his business as well, Hunter, that allows Jamil and myself to go travel around the country and do all the fun stuff that we get to do. Cody is amazing. We own a title business. We own a transaction coordinating business. We own a virtual assistant business. We own a software business. We own another software business. We own Airbnbs, rentals, lease options. We have a wholesale operation, a fix and flip operation. We literally have, I think between Cody and myself, him and I have about 10 streams of income, all profitable. All of them, we could live on one stream of income individually. They're all highly profitable, doing very, very well. And if it wasn't for Cody understanding systems as well as he did, it'd basically be an idiot, me running around like a chicken with its head cut off. In order to scale your business, you have to have systems, right? So what ultimately happens, I'm going to talk to you guys a couple of times, or a couple of things that I see with wholesalers. What do? They get a lead, then they focus on that lead, and then they go to try and close that lead. And what's happened in that meantime?
No more new leads.
No more new leads.
Business stops. Yep.
It stops. So Cody and I talk a lot about the conveyor belt model, right? We talk a ton about conveyor belt. So if you don't have a conveyor belt where I can go and work on this part of my business and the other stuff is operating, whether I'm there or not, it was interesting. We just had a mastermind. Not promoting. I think our next mastermind's already sold out, so I'm not trying to promote or do anything else along those lines. But it was interesting. Cody and I were the only people in that room. It was about 40 people in that room. The only people in that room that could raise our hands and say, our business is running even though we're in this room. Everybody else says, I basically turned my business off to come and learn at this mastermind.
Wow.
And the whole purpose of the mastermind was we're going to teach you how to never go to another mastermind and worry about that ever again. You need systems, you need processes. And I can tell you by the end of the year, my goal is for everybody to know that there's not a better person on planet Earth for systems, operations, procedures, all of those things than Cody, Mr. freaking Barton.
Wow.
So Cody, why don't we jump into
Bring it, bro.
bro? What I would do is, Cody, I'm gonna highlight you for a couple minutes. What I would do is talk to people about the 10 things that they need in their wholesale business to basically quit their 9-to-5 job. What are the 10 systems or processes they need?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I would say that the biggest thing is understanding you don't need everything right now, because that is where I see so many people get distracted when they're getting started. Is they're chasing different rabbits all over the place. So like, oh, I want to do a little bit of cold calling. I'm gonna do a little bit of driving for dollars. I just saw a YouTube video about sending mail, so I'm gonna try to send some mail. But I didn't get a deal from that, so I'm gonna try this RVM thing that I saw another YouTube video thing about. And like people are jumping all over the place. So I would say, first of all, Pace is when people are just getting started, it's picking one thing and going deep on that one thing. Like driving for dollars. That's what I did to get my first deals going, was driving for dollars. I didn't try to do 5 other types of marketing. I think that's one of the biggest mistakes that new people are making, is when they're first starting off, they're spending too much time trying to go to the next hot thing and, hoping that there's some secret sauce behind doing another marketing strategy. But the thing is, every single marketing channel will work, but it's the matter of the depth that you work that marketing channel. And I would say, for those newest people that are getting started, driving for dollars, especially if you don't have any money. I know there's a lot of people that they have a 9-to-5 job, they're working, they get home, they still don't have a ton of money left over to spend on spending thousands of dollars a month on marketing. I think driving for dollars is definitely one of the best ways to get around and be able to find, distressed properties, or, like Mr. TTP, cold calling. I mean, those are the 2 things I really did. Was, I was driving for dollars and I was cold calling those sellers every day.
Cody, if I could interject for a moment, I love everything you're saying. And I think that if we want to begin with driving for dollars, let's start there. How does one systematize driving for dollars? Yeah, definitely. So again, in looking at the type of person that works 9 to 5, they only have a couple hours, they have a couple hours to come home at night and work on that. I think it's putting, a schedule and, creating a routine around it. The only way that you're going to get results is by having routines and, consistent activity around whatever action that you're specifically taking. So if that's going to be driving for dollars, what I specifically did was, I scheduled Monday through Friday when I was going to be driving for dollars. And then I would make sure that, I had the areas mapped out that I wanted to go drive. And then I had the scheduled time of when I was going to then come home and cold call those people that I just added to my list. Because I think that's another mistake people make. They go drive for dollars and then they never call anybody. They just, want to feel like they're working and feel like they're, being active. But it's difference between being active and productive.
Well, and I found, Cody, that a lot of people will hide behind driving for dollars instead of making their calls. They're like, well, I called for an hour, but I drove for dollars for 3. It's like, no. The other way.
Yeah, 100% the other way.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Can I pull something up on the screen? I was talking to Cody about this. I actually got tricked by this earlier today, and it is like really, really good for what we're talking about. Let's see if everybody can see this. Let me go full screen on you. Guys, here's what I want you to do. You have 20 seconds to tell me how many F's are in this statement. You have 20 seconds to tell me how many F's are in this statement. Okay? Count them up. I'm going to ask Jamil first. Jamil, how many F's are in this statement?
I don't care.
Okay, Cody, how many F's are in this statement?
I'll say 3. I'll say 3. I'll say 3.
You got 3. Brent?
I see 3 of them.
Okay,
4, 5, 6. 6 of them. 6 of them.
There you go. So how many are there? There actually, if you look at it, you've got 1 here, 2, you've got 3, Nobody sees the F's or nobody sees the ofs.
Yeah, come on.
Okay, scientific. So basically, you've got what most people see, and this I got tricked on this earlier today. I got tricked on 3. Okay, so here's what I got suckered into. I was on a podcast with Anderson Business Advisors. He asked me this, and he says, "You know why you're successful?" And I go, "I don't know." And he goes, "Because you actually just gave me a number 3, because that was my guess. Jamil was 3, even though there's 6."
Yeah.
And he goes, "You jump into it. You don't overthink. You just start taking action." Okay, so what happens so many times is that people will hide behind driving for dollars. They want to know everything about everything before they actually yell out the number 3. So what happened is I yelled out the number 3 and I quickly realized I made a mistake, and then I fixed it right away. So the goal of this business is to go as fast as you can to make those mistakes and stop overthinking everything. So what Brent is talking about is you got to go out, make those mistakes, get on the phone. You can't make mistakes driving for dollars, guys. You can't make mistakes driving for dollars. Okay.
And
you have to get on the freaking phone.
Can I point something else out? Is that I'm going to be on Anderson's podcast as well. And now that I know the answer, I'm going to learn from Pace's mistake, and I'm going to just immediately
there you go. There
that's
you go.
what mentorship is about, and learning from other people's mistakes, because you walk the path that people have walked. You don't step in the same dog shit they stepped in, because they have cleared the path for you. So thank you, sir. I'm going to look like a genius on that podcast. I appreciate you.
Yes, absolutely. So my point is this with Cody and I is that Cody and I never look at our mistakes or at the things that we're working on as problems. We are trying to go as fast as we can to find those mistakes, because if you're trying to build a conveyor belt, Cody's moving to Colombia for like a month or 2. I don't know. I can't keep track of him, but it's nice to know. And same thing with me. Last summer, I left for 4 months during the summer in an RV and traveled around the country, and our business continued to operate whether I was there or I wasn't. It's the same thing with Brent Daniels and Jamil Damji. You guys go to Tulum a couple weeks ago. You guys basically get Montezuma's revenge, but it doesn't matter for you guys. You continue to operate your business. Your business continued on without you because you have systems and processes in place. So, Cody, I think that's great advice to jump out right out of the gate, saying don't be the person that goes way too wide, way too fast. Focus on that one thing, find the mistakes, get consistent, right?
Yeah. Let me ask you this, Cody. How do you fail forward without spending all your budget so you're completely out of the game? You know what I mean? How do you test out without putting all your chips in on the first hand? You know what I mean? Like, how do you go about building up? Like he was saying, building up that experience by taking the action, but making sure that you can still continue going on. You know what I mean? Because I think that really, that's the number one biggest thing that I get when I'm talking to students or when I'm talking on these lives is, well, I tried it. I spent a ton of money. I didn't make anything. And then I got discouraged, and then I stopped for like 2 or 3 years. And then I had to build up my savings again. And now I'm back at, like, how do you get into that without getting kicked out of the game? What do you track?
I love that question, because that is one of the most important things. Like the thing that terrifies me is when somebody's like, I have $5,000 and I just spent all of it on mail. And I'm like,
oh no.
Like, it's like terrifying to me when somebody says that, because first of all, we understand this, but for those that are listening, most of the time, the marketing that you're doing today, you're not going to see revenue for 90 days, 120 days. Yes, you can get a deal, right? And it could close faster, amazing, right? Great. But generally, I like to tell people to be prepared for, 3 months. Like, hey, have marketing prepared for 3 months. So I would much rather that person, if they're like, hey, I have $6,000 to spend on marketing, I would much rather them be spending, $1,000 or $1,500 a month, and have a few months to spend that money, because also part of that is they need to go through a learning curve. If they spent that $6,000 month 1 and they get overwhelmed with leads, they're not even going to be able to close all those leads because they have too many of them. They're going to do the follow-up incorrectly. They're going to screw up the sales process, which is all just part of it, right? But if they instead spread out that money that they were going to spend on marketing I would say at least 3 months. Like 3 months is like a pretty good buffer, because by that point, you know, you should at least have a couple deals in the pipeline and you start having some stuff closed. I mean, that's the biggest suggestion I always tell people is like, look, like don't blow, you know, I said this at the mastermind, don't blow your load the first month. Like you got to have some of that savings. You got to have some of that savings there so you can keep the business going. Otherwise, you're going to be out of money. And, you know, like you said, Brent, you're just going to have to, you know, go back to the drawing board. You got to save up money again.
Well, that's interesting. Thinking about marketing is sorry, Jamil. Right. I think you have a load question or load answer.
No. I just said the Eric Cartman in me just couldn't stop. I had to just wait. You just go Pace.
This is why you and I are best friends, because in the middle of the mastermind, he says that, and I turned to him and I made the whole room laugh at him, because I'm like, bro, did you just seriously drop a load in here? Like, so, it's interesting. How many businesses do you guys know that you can truly go and make money without spending much money in marketing or really have any overhead costs? Wholesale is one of the only businesses that you can do that in. Okay. So here's the challenge with that. It attracts a lot of people that don't have any money whatsoever. So what are the ways that you can go get a deal without spending any money? I can name 3 right off the top of my head. 1, driving for dollars. You probably would say your average contract for driving for dollars is going to cost you about $200 to $400, right? Because you've got subscriptions, you've got some gas, you got to get some snacks at the Circle K, or if you're in Texas, you got to go to Buc-ee's, whatever. Okay, so you got some money involved in those deals. The second way to do it is to be somebody who's doing the disposition, where you go to a wholesaler, you go find those wholesalers. So that would be step 1, find a wholesaler, and then bring them value by saying, hey, I have a buyer, and then brokering that deal. And we call that astro flipping, right? So
it's a portion of it. Yeah. But yeah,
it's a portion of it. I'm trying to simplify it because I'm interjecting in Cody's show. So same thing with creative finance. I'm going to oversimplify what I teach, but if somebody comes into my program and they go, I have no money for marketing, I go, no problem. That's the value of creative finance, is you can go to a wholesaler and say, give me your dead leads and I will revive them. And it's just like I just barely grazed over astro flipping and barely grazing over what sub 2 and all that kind of stuff is about. Outside of those 3 ways to make money in this business, what else is there that I can truly go and not have any costs? What's that?
What about referrals? Just being loud that you're in real estate.
Yep. Like agent referrals, door knocking. I mean, I know Brent Daniels, when he got his first deal, he couldn't afford the tie he was wearing. For me, you know, when I came to town, I was in the pickle myself. My first deals all came from agent referrals. There's a lot of ways, but what it takes is ingenuity. It takes consistency at doing it. I think the thing that Cody is so eloquently describing is the depth of the procedure, the depth of the work in you're doing is what's going to create the result. You know, if you decide driving for dollars is going to be the avenue you're going to take to start, great. You need to keep going until you get through the wall, right? The wall will be there no matter what. If you're gonna go wholesale, you're gonna dispo, you're gonna revive wholesaler leads, you're gonna cold call, you're gonna door knock, you're gonna drive for dollars, you're gonna leverage VAs, whatever it is, the wall happens. And if you can't do this consistently enough to get through the wall, then you are, you know, all the other entrepreneurs that didn't make it.
And you have to ask yourself a question. Do I want to be on offense or do I want to be on defense? You know, am I so fearful and I have enough budget to have people call me, or do I have to go to a wholesaler, get their dead leads, and then guess what you do? You don't mail these leads. You don't put them into some algorithm on Facebook and find them. No, you pick up the phone and you call them all. You're proactively picking up the phone and calling and seeing where they're at in their process if they would consider an offer again. It's all about being on offense. When you're starting out, you got to build it on offense. If you're just putting out a budget and hoping people will call you, it's going to be a long, hard battle. It's going to be a fist fight. But if you're going out and you are in control of your efforts and your destiny and what you're trying to do, that's what Cody's talking about going deep in that. Go deep in these proactive efforts, unless you have a big budget. If you have a big budget and you're sitting on it and you feel comfortable with that, great. But if you don't, which most of us don't when we're starting out, You need to go and you need to have those conversations, either with the distressed property owners or the people that have a relationship with those distressed property owners, like Jamil teaches in his astro flipping course.
I have a something I want to propose to you guys to help Cody, because basically this has turned into the Pace, Jamil, and Brent show, because that's what it usually does.
Woo!
Cody, my proposal is, I think the biggest challenge in real estate investing is that there's so many different ways to go based on where you live, what your budget is, right? What resources you have, whatever. There's simply hundreds of ways to be successful in this business. And that actually, even though that is one of the biggest benefits of this business, it's also one of the biggest challenges, because you'll listen to one guy say A and you'll blink your eyes and the next influencer on Instagram is saying B, and then you'll sneeze and then 17 guys are saying C, right? So let's create maybe 3 profiles of some guys that, like, one profile, I have no budget. I'm 20 years old. I have a driver's license. I have no budget for marketing. How do I get to a point where I'm getting consistent deals? Then you get a guy like maybe like a Rylas Dana who came to us and was like, yo, I have a budget. I don't want to go through those 2 years that you guys had to go through. Tell me where to spend my money. I'll buy. I don't want to build a conveyor belt. I want to buy one, right? Should we do something like that, guys, where we kind of profile a couple of different types of people to give Cody some thought process on what systems and processes these types of people need?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because we've got that avatar of we have that avatar in the chat right now, right? That's what we've got. We got the broke guy. We got the guy that's working a 9 to 5 that's not broke but has no time, and we've got the guy that's got some resources that does. And Cody left, and that's got some resources and wants to just create, right? And while I'm sure he just lost his connection. I'm sure he's coming back, but essentially that's it, right? We want to understand what are the systems, what are the processes that each avatar essentially needs to put into practice in order for it to succeed. There he is.
Why don't we get some people in the chat blowing this up? I'd love to see, while we go through the first profile with Cody, I want to see everybody in the chat. We've got a couple of YouTube channels. We've got a couple of Facebook groups. Overall, we've got about 350 live viewers right now. I want to see 350 comments. People seem to really like what I'm talking about, profiling these types of investors. You guys tell us where you're at. I want to know 3 things, okay? I want to know, 1, do you have a marketing budget or not? 2, what area are you in? And 3, have you done a deal yet? I want to know those 3 things. How much money of a marketing budget? And by the way, $0 is a perfectly adequate number that you can type. $0. And we're talking monthly, not yearly. Monthly. Is it $0? I want to know, what does that look like for our audience today? $0. I'm in this market. I'm in Nashville, Tennessee, and I've never done a deal. I want to see those profiles. Let's start typing those out. Everybody, YouTube, Facebook, everybody, let's fill that up. And Cody, are you holding your pose right now, or are you frozen because your internet sucks and you're this dude, by the way, just so you guys know, 26-year-old, lives in a penthouse apartment. Penthouse, like his neighbors are surgeons and NBA players and all this kind of stuff. Every time I call the dude, I know he's inside his house because it's a freaking concrete and glass building. You can't get through to him with like anything.
He's got his neighbors taking his Wi-Fi right now.
Basically. So I'm like, bro, why do you live there? And I'm like, oh, I get it. All these like multi-millionaires, they don't want to be bothered. They want to go into their house and their phone doesn't work.
Also, Pace, if you ever watch Cody's stories, like after 8 o'clock.
Oh yeah.
That view that guy's got, bro. Come on.
It's insane.
Now. It's crazy.
It's insane. Guys, look at these look at these profiles are coming in. $100 a month, Vegas, Tampa, Memphis, like 1.5 deals across the finish line. 1.5 deals. 4K a month, Providence, Rhode Island. $100, Central Coast, California, no deal.
Look at this. Walking for dollars.
Ooh, love
Come
that.
on.
Here's one of my, I don't know who Facebook user is, but no marketing budget in Colorado, 3 deals, dispo.
Love that.
Would it be appropriate to share kind of what I did? I was in the nothing category when I first started.
What did you have, a car? Did you have a bike or a skateboard?
combo a skateboard and a car. I skateboarded for dollars a lot.
I love that.
So how long did it take you to get your first deal?
It took me 4 months to get my first deal, and I would go every single day, either driving or skating. And I just set a small limit for myself, an hour here or 2 hours. I didn't want to overload myself with too much work. I was just getting started, and I thought, I'm going to keep going until I kind of just lose steam, and that's enough for today. And tomorrow, as long as I go again, I'm going to keep going. And I went after I had no money. Anyway, I don't want to get too much in the story, but I had nothing. I just moved back to Texas and had nothing.
What were you doing at the time?
Campus ministry.
Right.
Yeah. I was doing campus ministry. I was living in Brazil and just came back to America and had nothing. I was living on $500 a month.
Wow.
Yeah. And so I had my skateboard from when I was in college. And so that's what I was going around doing. And I found the absolute worst of the worst dumpster fire properties. I'm talking like I don't even want to walk in those. They're so bad. And pinned those. And I didn't have Deal Machine. I didn't have anything. I had an Excel spreadsheet on my phone. And that's all that I did. And I went to Walmart. So I figured out a way to eat on $25 a week. I cooked the same food, chicken, rice, and broccoli 3 times a day. Yeah. $25 a week so I could go buy pins, cardstock, and envelopes. And I hand wrote all my letters to send out. And of course I bought stamps. I didn't know about dialing and all that fun stuff back then, but it worked. Yeah. I got 4 deals off that.
What kept you going when you have nothing, you're eating the same meal? What was it?
So what didn't bother me, I had a clear controlling vision is really what it was. I had a strong, clear, controlling vision that I know that this works. I've seen too many other people have success about it. And I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad a few years prior, and that book messed me up. It messed me up. I remember getting up, I was working a job, and I got up out of my desk and said, never again. I'm not working like this. I'm going to figure out how to do real estate at some point. And so once I moved back to America, I said, this is it. I'm going to give it a shot. I've seen it work. Too many other people are doing this. And in fact, I thought TTP and Wholesaling Inc. were a bunch of quacks at the time. I just thought, yeah, they're just a bunch of money grabbers. They're coaches. Yeah, whatever. But, and look, here I am now. But I said, this is going to work. I believe it's going to work. And I'm not giving up until someone calls me. And I remember that after the first or second round of postcards I sent out and someone called me, I remember running around the room. Someone called me. I didn't even buy in their house, but just to see small incremental steps of progress. And I had no idea what I was doing. In fact, I was doing everything really backwards, really slow. I was looking up all the tax data on my own phone. It took forever, but I got deals that way.
Yep.
That's amazing. I mean, that when I first had started, I was driving for dollars as well. And these different apps didn't exist to be able to do driving for dollars. And so for me, it was a notebook. I had a notebook on the seat to the right of me. And then I had on my phone, I just used the maps feature and I would click on the houses as I was driving by, finding the, distressed houses. So it's crazy because people have it easy now. They got the tools, they got the systems, they got the resources to, bring it all together. You can get the phone number on the spot. Like I had to handwrite it and I would go home at night and then I would be looking them up one by one on, these skip tracing websites and calling them. I mean, people have it really easy with these apps now that just make it super simple for people to, be able to get out there and take action. I love that story, man.
Yeah. I didn't even know what skip tracing was. I found those addresses, went to truepeoplesearch.com and I found 20 phone numbers for each person and 19 of them were bad, but then they also had possible relatives. They were free. And I called every single person. I got a hold of the brother-in-law who knew the sister who then was the owner. And that's actually how I got my huge deal. My really, really big deal was that exact deal right there.
There you go. So throw out some scenarios to him, Pace.
Dude, there's so many good ones. I'm like going through and putting them all on the screen. There's so many good ones. So I even saw just Scotty Free just said, hey, if I had systems, I could scale, right? Which is the whole reason we had Cody come on here. We might end up having to have Cody come on here another day as well once he moves out of his penthouse where they actually have good internet.
Dude, like concrete walls, I don't know, man.
Bro, concrete walls and all that glass you guys have on that. What are you on the 25th floor?
Yeah.
Yep. You got Alex Signs on the same floor as you, and Octavius, and like half the Phoenix Suns are on that same floor, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, tons of people saying zero budget. So I think driving for dollars is probably the best way. So Jamil, without belaboring this point, getting referrals from agents, if I'm brand new, right? Like Jared Franco, is that a possibility for me to get referrals from agents when I'm brand new?
Absolutely. I saw a comment on there where someone, again, and please don't be upset that I say this, but the thinking is the story you're telling yourself is wrong. Someone said, why would an agent ever want to give you a lead like that? They could just do it themselves. It's the same. It's that same limiting thinking that's going to keep you in your house doing nothing, right? That's what that is. It's a limiting thought. Let me tell you one thing. The majority of agents only understand commissions. All right. And they understand that they get paid when a lender funds their close. And then they get their 3% commission. So that is 99.99% of agents. Now, you have a realtor, they walk into a listing appointment. The house is a travesty. First off, they understand this house is not financeable. So the person that's going to have to actually fund the money for them to get their 3% commission isn't doing it. So this already looks like a situation an agent wants nothing to do with. So with that said, when you offer an opportunity to an agent to monetize that situation by being the buyer for that, by being the person that they can come bring that travesty to, that terrible house, the one that could never be financed, the one that she has to go home and throw her shoes away because like she stepped in so much filth when she walked through it. That is an opportunity. And there are so many realtors that go on those listing appointments and they have absolutely no idea how to deal with that. Secondly, sorry, I'm not going to go too long. Secondly, agents right now are fighting for their lives against iBuyers. The iBuyers, or the Silicon Valley buyer, is offering cash solutions. I updated my Zillow app today, and I wish I hadn't, because now all I can see is Zillow. Instead of helping me comp, all that Zillow wants to do now is write an offer, right? It's not helping me comp anymore. They screwed the entire app up. I'm gonna have to make a whole new video.
I noticed the whole thing, the same thing.
Yeah, they screwed the entire app up. And why? So that they could write offers. So agents are fighting for their life against Silicon Valley and iBuyers because they're unable to offer a cash solution to sellers. So when you're the wholesaler that formed the relationship with that realtor who can now provide a cash solution at a listing appointment, you've now leveled the agent up to the iBuyer. I don't see how any of that doesn't work. It works. And not only does it work, but I'll tell you, Keegley did $800,000 in revenue in February. That's how good it works.
Jamil, I have to add on that point of I worked as an agent before I was doing, wholesaling and doing fix and flipping. And when a property would come up, there was actually, I remember a package of 4 condos in Phoenix, Arizona that I had a distressed client. None of the tenants were paying. He was elderly. He's like, I need you to list these. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't want to list these freaking 4 condos with tenants that I can't get access to the properties for pictures. And it was such a pain in the butt. And I'm like, well, you're going to have to discount them. And what happened? I list all 4 of them. You know who ended up dispoing it? Some agent that then it dispoed through Keegley. And all 4 of those condos got sold through Keegley from me listing those properties. I remember that package in Phoenix. So, the thing is, as an agent, thinking, back to when I was an agent, agents need investors because you solve a lot of problems. And to the person that said, why would an agent ever give you their deal? Here's the thing. My own mom, which is very aware of what I do for my business, when she gets a trashed property, she's like, oh my gosh, I don't want to list this thing. Cody, can you do something with this? I don't want to deal with this. This is disgusting. Like, I don't want this, property attached to my name on my listing. That's how a lot of agents think. And she's just like, just get me paid my commission. And I'm like, perfect. And then, we'll make our spread. Amazing. That's what most realtors are thinking. Yes, there are some savvy realtors that are also investors. that yes, they will buy their own deals, but they're not going to be the ones sending them to you in the first place. But you just have to make more calls, talk to more realtors, and they're happy to give you their trashy listings.
And that's where what Cody said, in depth, right? It's all about consistency and depth. And I have this conversation with Astro students on our support calls all the time. It's, you've got to cast that net so deep. You got to go, 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 go. You can't stop. You have to keep, look, somebody else in the comments said, agents are so mean to wholesalers. They freak me out when I try to call them. Yeah, some. And the ones that are mean to wholesalers, they don't have a tenure in the business because they don't understand it long enough. They don't understand it long enough that they're just listening to what rumors, they're listening to hearsay. They're basically allowing an idea to form a story that creates a response. If you can be the opposite of what that idea is, meaning you be consistent, you actually perform, and you do what you're supposed to do in a transaction, you will change what that agent thinks of wholesaling forever and ever, because you brought exactly how the deal should have gone down correctly in the first place to the table.
Love it. So $500 a month, Cody. What would you do with it? How do you start building from there? Go, brother, go.
I would do exactly what I did to start off at the beginning. I would take that $500. I would get myself where I had a phone number where I could mask my phone. So when I'm calling and I'm cold calling, people can't get access to my number. So here's the things. I would get a Driving for Dollars app, right? You could use BatchDriven. You could use whatever you want. Get a Driving for Dollars app so that you can actually go out and start driving for dollars. Get something like, CallRail or DialPad, where you can, and CallRail or DialPad, those are just basically going to help mask your number so that if you're calling, people aren't calling back pissed off at your personal cell phone. It's going to route it somewhere else, right? So I would take that, you'll spend between, the masking your phone number and having a Driving for Dollars app, $150 or so a month, and then gas driving around on a weekly basis, maybe another couple $100. That's what I would do. I would get that first deal, make your 5, 10 grand, 15 grand, maybe more depending on the deal, right? Take that money and now pay yourself a little bit with it. It is important to pay yourself a little bit with that money. And then I would set a good majority of that money aside and to go invest in a little bit more marketing. Don't blow your load. Like I said before, don't spend all of it and all right, I got my first deal. I'm going to dump it all into one marketing campaign. Don't do that. I would take that and say, okay, what is one of the next best ways to get deals? I would continue driving for dollars. I would just put a schedule around this. I would maybe pull a list of a high paying type of seller, pre-foreclosure, probate, some type of high paying seller, right? And then I would cold call those people. TTP, I would cold call, try to reach out to those people. And I would try to text those people. So I would try to text them, I would try to call them, and then I would also be driving for dollars as well. And then get your next deal, and then do it again, and do it again. But the important thing is, don't get one-itis that when you get a deal under contract, you sit there and you baby that deal all the way to closing, but now you have no freaking leads and your pipeline's dead. I call that the wholesale hamster wheel. People get stuck and they never get ahead because they're like, I got a lead, now it's a deal, now I need to, babysit it all the way to closing, and then now I got to go start the whole process again. You have to keep the lead gen going. And if you get too busy, hire a virtual assistant. You got a deal closed, you got some money, get a virtual assistant to get that lead gen continuing and continue to grow it from there. But make sure you're taking paychecks along the way. If you make 5, 10 grand, take a little bit of that money, put it into your own savings, keep some of that cash, put the rest of it into the business and continue to grow it. That's exactly what I did, and I would do the same thing again.
Cody,
can I ask a question?
Wholesaler do?
This is a question for both Jared and Cody. Okay. So what I see is that the first system people need is kind of what Jared was talking about, which is a clear vision, right? Something that won't allow you to give up. So let's talk about that. If let's say God himself came down and said, Jared Frankham, if you could make it so everybody would take action and be consistent, and I would give you the keys to heaven, You'd be like, oh my gosh, yes, I can figure this out. I can figure this out. What would you do to help people be consistent? Because what I see is this. I see people go, oh my gosh, I'm excited Monday. And then by Thursday, they forgot what they even got excited about. Like that, it's night and day. It's not even like on Thursday, they're like, yeah, I'm 90% of excited as I was 4 days ago. It's literally they forgot they even committed in the first place. So the first system they need is a system that holds them accountable. What is that?
One thing that helped me was I didn't get for real until I got into TTP program, and he had the 7 layers of why.
Yeah.
That exercise was huge. To have a why would beat any thought of, I don't want to do this today. I'm lazy. You know what? Those houses are going to be there. How about I go tomorrow? Having a why, a real why, not just I want to make some money, or a real why. What kind of impact is this going to do for me? And even other people I'm touching. That was the core of that question, Pace. Is
so why? Are you writing it down? Are you tattooing it on your arm? Is it on your notebook? Where is this?
I wrote it down on a notebook. I put sticky notes. I had it on my phone background, my computer background. Yeah. I would actually, I got a note card and I wrote it down. And I would read it out loud every day.
The challenge, Pace, is you set a goal and then you ask yourself 7 times why, and you answer, and then you ask why to the answer that you had. So you really get down to the core of it, not just I want to make $10 million. Why?
Yeah.
And then you you answer that 7 times. And it gets down to who you actually are.
And it gets
damn. I just was kind of thinking through that, and I got to like my 3rd layer, and I'm already like realizing how good that thought process is. I think this is a really good thing. Maybe this is a good system to go through.
People can Google it. 7 whys.
Yeah.
I just took that note. That's
it should be so hard to where you have to like put yourself in a closet, close the door, and don't even bring your phone in there, and you have to think for an hour, because how do you answer that question why so many times without just going in a circle? And once
Jared, what was your first question you asked yourself?
The very first question I asked.
Yeah, and you had to ask the question why to that question or that goal. What was the goal?
Oh, the first goal was I want to wholesale 1 deal.
Okay,
that was my initial goal. I want to do 1 deal.
I love this. This is really, really good.
Because, so I think, and Brent just asked me about a goal I had, and he goes, that's too small, but I want to combat that. Because, so one thing that I think is super valuable is to have a measurable and attainable goal, just to prove that it's possible. If your dream, and I don't want to discourage anyone, I want to encourage everybody. If you dream so high up in the stratosphere that it's no longer even measurable, like I want $1 quadrillion. None of us even know what that is. So it's almost like not even an attainable thing. I wanted something so measurable, so attainable, and it'd be a win for me, so I could stack that and use that as momentum to have a bigger, larger goal. Anyway, it's like if I want to bench press 250 pounds and you just throw it on the bar and I just believe it, it won't happen. You have to put in the reps. So start with something small, very measurable. I remember I got excited. I pinned 20 houses today. I went home and I thought I was the freaking champ.
I want to jump in real quick because I know we're going to Cody, but he said the reps, right? So I want to just unpack that for a second, because what is reps? It's the memory. Look, how many on the screen here have lost someone they love, a family member, a pet, right? It's some time ago. What happens over time? The memory fades, right? It's why life can go on. It's why you don't feel like you got gut punched every single day because of the loss, because the memory fades. And unless you have that person in your life giving you reps every day, they fade. And it's just like that in everything we do in life. If you don't put in the reps, it fades. Your why fades. Your gumption to get up and do something fades. Everything fades. So you have to put in the reps. Sorry to interject there, but it's 100% true.
Definitely. I would say on that as well. I'm actually going to take this comment here that Kevin said. I realized I'm way too comfortable. I think that's one of the biggest killers of people getting into this business is they're like, it's like they're the frog that's slowly being cooked. It's like, I'm uncomfortably being cooked right now, but it's not too bad that I'm not going to jump out. And it's until they, they wait their whole life and they never end up taking action on what they really, truly wanted. And I think people get to, they're just sitting too comfortable. And like for me, when I was thinking about it, you get your why, you get a strong why put together. And then you have to, for me to take action on this business, it was, I'm burning the boats. Like I'm doing this or I'm going to die. Like that's the mindset in my head. I'm like, I'm going to succeed or die. That's it. No other option. I have to succeed at this, whatever it takes, whatever action it takes to actually make it happen. I'm going to do that and continue to do it until it happens. And I think too many people are wishy-washy. Like I'm going to try wholesaling out. I'm going to try that. If I just make a bunch of money, then yeah, I'm going to continue doing it. But that's not really the right thought process to come into the business. It's you have to realize it is a business. Like if you treat it like this, little hobby, how much do your hobbies typically pay you? Usually nothing. You got to treat it like a true business with the respect it deserves.
Exactly.
Well, and I think a really important thing to consider for everybody that's on this is the first test is you have to have that fire in your belly, right? You have to have that entrepreneurial spirit, or you're going to be happy working the job that you're working. I've like literally every relative and every friend that I grew up with doesn't want to be an entrepreneur, doesn't have that fire, doesn't have that little weirdo-ness inside their brain. So if you have that, then the next step is just focusing in on what are the little things that you can do every day so that you can build up your business. And that's really what we're talking about, is just stacking those small wins and getting it. You wouldn't be watching this. This would be the last thing that somebody's going to watch if they're like, you know what? I like working as an accountant in my accountant firm, and I'm going to do that for the next 70 years and retire, and that's going to be good. No, you have to have a little bit different of a brain, and I think that's so exciting. I think that's why we love this show so much, is because we get to be around people that are like us. We're just not around people that are like us a lot in normal life. And I think that if you do take that challenge and you do the 7 whys, you're going to get down to why are you that different? What is it in there? What is it? Is it time? Is it experience? Is it somebody was mean to you and they seem like a boss and you don't want to be around a boss anymore? You want to be, an example of somebody that's successful in your family and in your group or whatever it is. But you get down to it and then you understand, okay, it's great to think about it. It's great, but you need the reps. Just like Jamil was saying, you can have all the great thoughts that you want. You could have the world's greatest, biggest vision board of all time. But if you don't pick up this thing and make this thing go, it's just a fantasy. It's just a thought. It's just it's a fart in the wind,
It's interesting. Last night, my wife asked me, she says, "Hey,
Loads and farts." Sorry, I just love it. Loads and farts, man. You guys, it's like this show was meant for me. I love it. Sorry, go ahead, Pace.
So last night, my wife has to go show a house to my sister. My sister's looking to buy a house. She's looking to buy a house in a neighborhood that I went to high school. When I was in high school, lived in this neighborhood. And so my wife goes, "Hey, let's go. We're 30 minutes early. Let's kind of meander through." We're meandering through this neighborhood. I haven't been to this neighborhood in 18 years. Okay. Actually more than that, probably 22 years. I haven't been in this neighborhood and I pass by it all the time. I just, haven't meandered through the actual cul-de-sacs and the streets and all that stuff. So I go in there last night and I go through, and every single person that lived in that neighborhood before is still living in the same neighborhood 22 years later. I wanted, my brain was melting through my ears, and I'm sitting here thinking, like, what's funny about Jamil is, he's my best buddy, so I can pick on him a little bit. This dude's got a $2 million home. Being around Jamil, the second his house is done, he's all decked it out. He's like, time for an upgrade. Like, it's interesting. The last couple of months, every time I go to his house, he's like, what do you think about this house? What do you think about this house? He's showing me $4 million homes, $5 million homes. That's the people we are, right? We're the people that have an undying passion for growth and improvement. And you've got to find those people. And that's, I've heard Brent Daniels talk in front of multiple audiences multiple times where he says, guys, we are a tiny little group. Like, cherish this group. We've got, between 350 and 400 live people watching right now, people who also have that fire in their belly. Cherish that you've found this community, because these are also people like Jamil that even if you put Jamil in a $2 million brand new custom home, they're going to live in it for 3 months and go, okay, what's next? What more can I achieve? What more can I stretch myself to do? And just going to the people I grew up around, oh my gosh, it is scary to think, even though these people are living in $600,000, $7,000, $100,000 homes, it's not the house that scares me. It's the fact that they hit a certain point and they go, I'm done. I'm done growing. I'm done impacting other people's lives. Oh my gosh, it scares the piss out of me. So
I'm comfortable. That's what they say.
Gross.
You're either growing or dying. There's no comfortable stage.
There you go.
Totally agree. Totally. And it's so funny. You were talking, Pace, and Cody's like getting uncomfortable. He's like, oh man, I'm going to barf here. Like, I can't believe staying in the same house and doing all that. I mean, I get it. I think we all get it, and it's exciting. And that's why, honestly, we push to squad up, because it's a small community. Anyway, Cody, do your thing. $1,000 a month, Cody, $1,000 a month, same type of thing. Well, let's go big. Let's go 10K. Let's go 10K. We kind of built this thing up. Let's go to that 10K a month. What does that look like?
Okay. So if I was going to, work with somebody and, talking about setting around a $10,000 a month marketing budget, direct to seller.
Not $10,000 marketing budget, $10,000 overhead, everything. I want to be in all in $10,000. What's my deal? You know what I'm saying? Like my podio, all my things.
Yeah. So, I would have a system for getting leads, because that's the beginning of the conveyor belt. So you need to have something that's generating you leads. So if I have $10,000 a month, give or take, I would probably have anywhere from 5 to 7 virtual assistants. I would probably have 2 of those doing text marketing for me. I would probably have 5 of those doing cold call marketing for me as well. And what I would probably do is, those 5 cold caller virtual assistants, I would be having them work on a little bit higher pane of data or a higher likelihood of selling. Like, I wouldn't just throw them on calling just anything that, any address, right? So like I would be having them call on properties that are vacant and also are an out-of-state owner. I would be having them call on, vacant, tax delinquent, out-of-state owner, your absentee. I would be having them call on a little bit more niche type of data sets, right? So just, the higher motivation. So I would be having probably 5 cold callers. I would have 2 that are texting, and the 2 that were texting, probably just bigger generic lists. Because the thing is with texting, you could text so many more people than you could reach when you're just hand dialing or, even on a dialer. So, in one day, somebody cold calling for 8 hours might make 800 to 1,000 phone calls on an automatic dialer. But in one day of texting, that same person can send out 5,000 text messages. So, having 2 virtual assistants that are texting, I would probably have those 5 virtual assistants that are cold calling. I would have a CRM like Podio. And for those of you that are like, what the heck is a CRM? Customer relationship management software, basically. Just somewhere where, hey, you talk to John. John, is an interested person that wants to sell their property. Your virtual assistant throws in a lead into your CRM for you to be able to follow up with those people. So, really that's where I would be spending, that money. I would be having those virtual assistants be helping pull down the conveyor belt. I would be down here saying, hey, I need more leads. I need more leads. I need more leads. And have, be spending that money on data, pulling lists, skip tracing those lists, paying my virtual assistants. And then I would be, whether you had a team or not at this point, myself, maybe my partner would be following up with those leads, trying to convert those into contracts. That's what I would be doing. Smaller scale team where you don't have a bunch of people, to take care of and salaries and all that. But that's what I would do. Cold call and text. at that point, once you have a budget.
It's the lowest cost per contract once you're systematized and you're scaling. Cold calling and texting is when you're doing direct to seller, belly to belly stuff, that's I say it all day long. I think right now the national average on text campaigns is like under $2,000 for a contract, right? That's incredible. When you look at the national average for an assignment fee is around $10,000, but that's a great ROI.
Yep, 100%. And cold call and text is something that you can get response immediately. Like I could send out a text message right now and get somebody that responds to me right now. I could call someone right now and have a conversation with somebody. The reason I don't love PPC, I don't really love direct mail, which they do work. A lot of people have great results with them, is you have to send, they're expensive and you're waiting. Like you send out mail today, you're waiting for it to drop and you're waiting for those calls to come in. So, cold call and text, I just always think of speed to the lead. How quickly can I get a lead? And text and cold call, there's no faster way, obviously, as far as paid marketing goes to, get a conversation started with somebody that wants to sell.
Awesome. Can I ask a 2-part question, Cody?
Yeah.
One, what does your guys' company look like now? You and Pace, right? And 2, how does a integrator who is not a visionary get out of the business and be able to do things and live life and do that? Or are you just stuck running the show?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I mean, right now, what our business looks like is we have about 20 virtual assistants that are working within our organization right now.
Does that include all of our admin too?
Yes, we fired some of our cold callers and we've narrowed it down. Like we kind of, got the cream of the crop on our team now for our callers.
And these guys won't promote it because it feels a little whatever, but VA Hub that they own is phenomenal. We use them. They text for us. We get deals from them. Jamil uses them. VA Hub, if you can get, I think there's a little bit of a waiting list, right? You guys, it's
usually 2 to 4 weeks out right now just because of the demand.
I'm telling you guys, get your name on there for real. Like,
if you guys go to vahub.com and book a call, that's what I would do. Go to vahub.com, book a call, tell them about your business, tell them what you need. They'll make suggestions, etc. Tell them that you heard about VA Hub from Wholesale Hotline and you guys should get a discount.
Awesome.
So with all those virtual assistants that we do have is we have 10 of them are cold calling. So 10 of those are strictly cold calling. They're just, making outbound calls Monday through Friday. And then we have 2 of them that are just systems virtual assistants. So this is to answer, this is partially answering your other question, Brent, is for me to step more out of the business, I have to still have those tasks be done. So, anything that could be done on a computer, a virtual assistant can do it. So what we've done is we've trained the virtual assistants to be able to do the admin stuff, like uploading lists into the campaign, skip tracing the lists, making sure the text campaigns are working, making sure the calling campaigns are running, tracking the KPIs, hey, Mark, the systems VA, can you put a report together based off of these numbers every week? Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. Like that you can really have, if you have the right virtual assistants, they can do a lot of those things. And so that for me, and then, just holding them accountable on that, weekly basis, you could really offload a lot of it to a virtual assistant team. And so you really only have to focus on some of the higher level stuff. But, so 10 of them are cold calling, 2 of them are systems, 3 of them are texting. So that puts us at 15. Then we have 3 of them are lead managers, and then 2 of them are acquisition. So they do everything.
Yeah, all the way down to converting deals.
Yeah.
From a standpoint, this is a really good question I want to touch base on that Brent had, right? Brent says, this is kind of the same question, and it's off market. Don asked the same question. If I'm a visionary, is it pertinent that I find an integrator? If so, how do I know when I found the one? So here's the thing. If you go read the book Rocket Fuel, very basic. Rocket Fuel tells you that you have to have a visionary as an owner of the business. Rocket Fuel, it's amazing. Best book on planet Earth. Non-religious and non-Kama Sutra related. Okay. So, Rocket Fuel talks about how you have to have a visionary. If you hire visionaries to run your business, they're going to just take everything from you. Okay. They're going to come in, they're going to seize the castle. If you hire integrators will stick around. And that's what Brent has done. Brent has done a really good job hiring integration inside of his business. Yep. Cody and I, we partnered together. So I didn't have to hire integrators. So the answer to Brent's question is, how does an integrator get out of the business if he's the one that everybody relies on? If he's essentially the one making sure that the conveyor belt is running while Pace is out promoting and talking and helping close deals and all that kind of stuff and raising capital, which that's kind of my main job for that business right now is I raised like $1.5 million in the last 45 days. That's what I do, right? So the answer is that Cody replaces himself with integrators, right? He builds out teams of people to take things off his plate. And now all Cody has to do is be involved in the business about 30 to 45 minutes every single day. That's about it. And I would even challenge that you're even involved that much. Are you?
Yeah, not even. I mean, depends on the day, and the problem that comes up, right? The high level problems I still have to jump in and, resolve. But I mean, really, like, I kind of see it as like, if you've seen The Wizard of Oz, like, I feel like I'm like the guy at the end of the movie, The Wizard of Oz, that I'm just like, operating the machines back there. And then, everyone else, the team is out there actually, producing things and making things happen. And I'm just kind of like making sure the system doesn't overheat and, checking in and pulse checking things. I mean, that's really what it is. And I feel like I have a lot of freedom from being in the business, even though I still am involved in certain things. That's why I'm going to Colombia for a month. That's why most of the summer, I'm going to just work remote and just travel around South America, but I could still work. You just need internet. But it's also being intentional around that. I also have other friends that are integrators that they feel stuck and they don't have any freedom at all because they refuse to systematize and automate. The whole, like, system itself is an acronym. It's save yourself some time, energy, and money. That's why you put systems in place. You want to avoid.
Say it again so that we can type this out.
Yeah, systems means save yourself some time, energy, and money.
I'll never forget it.
That's the purpose of having good systems, so that you can avoid having to be involved in every single little thing. And that's always been my goal. I don't want to have to go to an office. That's never been my vibe. I mean, that's something that Pace and I have always talked about. Like, I love the fact that I'm at home right now and I did all my work from home and I can go to some other state or country tomorrow and get the same amount of work I need to done because of having good systems in place. But it doesn't start there. You have to go and fumble your way through figuring out this business a little bit at the beginning. It's like you fix a little cog in the machine, and then it's like, that's how I view what I do every day is like, there's a cog that isn't functioning right. I come and like, I tweak the cog and I'm like, all right, that's working. Now I go to the next thing and then fix that. And it's just going to each part of the business and just making it more efficient.
Cody,
go ahead, Brent.
I just want to see the character arc here for Cody. Okay. So when did you start? How old are you?
And like wholesaling?
Yeah.
24.
Okay. So 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And you started doing what?
Driving for dollars.
And you caught Pace's attention how?
I started doing some deals for about 6 months. I switched from being just an agent, and because I was an agent for 4 years. I don't want people to think I just, out of nowhere, because I knew how to comp, like I had a pretty good understanding starting off wholesaling, but I started doing some deals, but I was getting a lot of leads and not closing a lot of them. I would close some. It was like the laydowns, and then, some I would get, I'm the sales guy that's like, I'm going to offer too much because I feel bad for the seller and sell it for too little because I love my buyer. That's what I would do. So I'm like, I just need to not be involved in this process so we can get deals deep enough and then we could sell them for higher because I just can't be involved in that. Right. So, I saw actually Pace was on Steve Trang's show. I remember I was doing my text marketing. I was doing it myself and I was texting sellers and I was listening. I had my dual monitors. I was listening to this podcast and Pace was like, yeah, like, here's my phone number. I'm, best closer in Arizona. He wasn't saying that, but, Steve was. He's like, here's my phone number. And I'm like, this guy just gave his phone number out on a podcast. So I just, I grabbed my phone
like a dumbass. I still get text messages every day.
So I texted him, and I knew, my background before real estate agent was, network marketing, and I grew a lot, personally development. I did a lot of that for a few years before that. And I knew the only way that you're going to be able to, create these, higher level relationships is like, you got to bring value. Like you have to lead with value. And so I'm like, all right, how do I, reach out to this Pace guy? And so I texted him like, hey, Pace, my name's Cody Barton. I saw you on Steve Chang's podcast. It sounds like you're really great at closing sellers. And, I'd love to just bring leads. I'm generating a lot of leads. I'd love to just bring these leads to you. And I'm happy for you to close them. I don't want to make any money from it. I just want to bring you the leads. If you would just let me watch you close them so I can learn how you do that. And that's what I led with. I didn't say, hey, like you close my deals for me so I can make money. I'm like, I'm spending thousands of dollars on my own marketing to bring and literally give them away because I just want to learn and get better. And that was how I approached Pace with that. And I remember he's like, oh, I'm flying to Dallas. Text me next week. And I'm like, I'm going to text him again. So I texted him again at the beginning of the next week. I'm like, yo, let's get together. Where are you located? Like, I got these leads. Let's get together. We met up at some, Mexican restaurant, chatted for like an hour. He left. We got together because his golf tournament canceled a few days later. He's like, yo, like you got your leads, bring your top 5 hottest ones. And
yeah, I was like, let's see if this dude's real. Meet me at McDonald's, bring your laptop, and bring me your top 5 best leads. Open your damn laptop. Show me these leads. That's literally what I was like, come on, man. Because you know how it is. You guys get blown up all the time. I'd been doing deals and closing deals for multiple years prior to this because of my Homevestors franchise, right? And so Cody meets me at McDonald's, opens his freaking laptop, shows me his Podio. I didn't know what Podio was at the time because I was doing everything through direct mail and postcards and Homevestors and all that kind of stuff. We used Salesforce. So you guys remember that private lender I brought on Wholesale Hotline a couple of weeks ago? That was the first seller that I closed out of Cody's leads. Literally the first seller. He goes, this lady's so slippery. Like, I don't think anybody can close her. Closed her 2 days later. We ended up, she's still our private lender. Amazing. And then to shorten that process down, about 4 months later, I realized like, wow, this guy fills in a lot of gaps that I'm missing in my business. And Cody and I could go to the moon if we could, date long enough before we decide to get married. And that's what we did. We dated for about 4 or 5 months. And then one day we go, hey man, should we get like a joint bank account? Like, should I put a ring on it? So we went and got a joint bank account. We had already probably done 30 deals together by that time. And then we check this out. Cody and I have only been business partners, legal business partners for, I'm not exaggerating, 19 months. And we have built 10 streams of income together.
Wow.
19 months.
All because Cody was brave enough to reach out to you after listening to a podcast, staying in front of you and bringing the goods. When you challenged him, he was really coming with the leads. He really had that genuine hunger to learn how to close these things. And he came at you for free. He didn't want to split the deals with you. He just wanted to get the education. And now, boom, 19 months, whatever, after
That's amazing actually how fast that went, right, Cody? Like 19, 20 months.
Feels like nothing is ever happening every day because of, I feel like as the integrator, you're just like, you're like in the mud, like digging through like problems and like looking for the next problem to solve. And it sometimes feels like nothing's happening. And that's where I think, Pace does a great job as, a visionary partner and like, reminding like, hey, like, look at all the stuff that's happened over the last, 19, 20 months. Like, oh yeah, I guess a lot of good stuff has happened. And we
had a conversation about 30 days ago. I was walking around, waiting for a burrito to be made at Los Favoritos, by the way. Shout out Los Favs in Phoenix, Arizona, the best burrito on planet Earth. I'm waiting for a burrito to be made. Cody calls me. He's like, you can tell he's down, right? Cody can wear his emotions on his sleeve like so many of us do. And I go, what's going on? He goes, man, I just feel like not a lot is growing. I go, hold on a second. And what's funny is Jamil and I were just talking about a a new ad angle where we were talking about going back in the future, like Bill and Ted's. And I go, bro, let's jump into a phone booth. Let's do Bill and Ted's to ourselves. And let's go back 18 months ago. 18 months ago when you were like, I have leads, but I'm not really great at closing them. And I really need some help. I want to learn. 18 months later, you're living in a penthouse. You're going to be moving to Colombia, leaving your penthouse empty, paying the rent. You got more cars than you can fit in a garage. And you've got more income streams than most 50 and 60-year-olds. And we did that in 19 months. 19 months. And a big part of that is because the systems, and we take the time. Even today, Cody and I talked 3 times today. I was dropping off Jamil's Lincoln at the dealership, getting it serviced. And I was waiting for my Uber. And Cody and I got on a phone call about a problem. And I go, let's ask ourselves these 3 questions. And I asked the 3 questions that I'll typically ask on every problem. And I go, bada bing, bada boom, bada bing. And Cody goes, great perspective. Let's get to work. Like, we have these conversations all day, every day. I'm not involved necessarily from a standpoint of physically doing the work, but I understand everything that's going on inside the business. And we have 2 or 3 conversations every day. And then Cody turns around and gets the stuff done. So it is amazing, guys, that we know multiple people in this business, hundreds and hundreds of people in this business that treat it like a business, not like a hobby, and make, like, you freaking look at Brent Daniels. This dude has like a perfect business. In a lot of ways, if I had to go recreate my business, if Cody decided he wanted to get abducted by aliens, I would go and create Brent Daniels' business. Well, you don't have to have a huge operation to just make $500,000 to $600,000 a year.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's if you aren't working in it that long. But I really like this. This right here hits me. Kev put this up, and I'll put yours back up, Jamil. I apologize about that because I think that's really important to mention. But literally, the interesting thing when I read that book again after I started cold calling for deals, Donald Trump would make 50 to 60 and whatever politics, whatever, 50 to 60 calls and cold calls every single day to people he was interested in meeting, learning about, being around, whatever it was, 50 to 60 for his whole young career. That's all he did was pick up the phone. There's a lot of pictures of him with his big ass gold phone, his little rotary phone like this in his office. I mean, he's just making calls. But I mean, just imagine if Cody didn't reach out, if he wasn't proactive, if he just let that moment slip, and he didn't text and didn't follow up and didn't come with the goods, his whole life would take longer. It would just take longer, and maybe it's just on a totally different path. Who knows? But because he was brave enough to be, to reach out and be proactive, kid wins. The kid wins.
So, I mean, and the thing is about that too, though, is Pace responded. And there were other people that I also had reached out to. I won't mention like names of people, but there were other people that I had reached out to and would blow me off, or, I know it from now being where I'm at in the business, where people reach out and they're like, hey, like, help me. And, hey, this or that, and so I get it. But like, there were other people that I'd reached out in the same way and people didn't respond. Like, there is at least 6 other people that I'd, from podcasts or, in the market here in Arizona that I had reached out to that didn't even respond or even give it the time of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had somebody recently today ask me for help. Okay. He asked me for help and he's been through coaching programs. So, he knows how to generate leads. And I said, hey, you know what? I actually was telling Cody today, I go, hey, you know what? Once I finish the next 2 weeks of Zooms, because I have 12 Zooms for my students this week, and I have like 10 Zooms for my students next week, I'm deep diving on specific topics, recording those and putting them into future trainings. So it's not like a normal thing to do 12 Zooms a week. But I'm like, man, I got to get back into the field. And so this guy reaches out to me today, and I go, man, I'd love to help you out. Let me know when you have your next buy appointment. I'll just go on the appointment with you and I'll just close the deal. And he's like, oh, I don't have any leads. I'm like, bro, you're literally not doing any work. Like you want some. So his reply was this. I almost want to read it word for word. The reply I got was, He said, I want weekly accountability. Can I just meet you every Friday and you just tell me all the tactics I need? Like, I'm like, bro, do you not understand? Go follow instructions. Go follow instructions. Go follow instructions. And he's been in multiple very successful coaching programs, very successful. One that I've actually been through myself where I'm like, this thing was amazing. And still, okay, well, yeah, I'd love you. One of the best closers in the country now says, I will help you. And his response was, oh, crap. I actually don't have any appointments. In fact, I don't have any leads. Then that just means you're not working. That just simply means you're not working. So it's tough. I mean, it's really tough having these conversations with people. The consistency factor, people underestimate that that's the number one reason why everybody fails. They'll go cold call for 45 minutes and go, okay, I got bitched out one time. I'm going to take a break. I'll get back to it tomorrow. It's very similar to the gym, the people that go to the gym, right? Like, I'm going to go work out, and 3 days later, they forgot that they even had a goal. It's crazy, the night and day difference. I think my biggest takeaway, because I get to hear Cody all the time, but my biggest takeaway is Jared and Brent talking about the 7-layer fun dip that you guys were talking about.
Yeah, that was great.
I'm going to bring that 7-layer dip to every party, bro.
7-layer, yeah.
Why? 7 layers to why? And then Cody's system. Why? When, bro? Why haven't you made a T-shirt with your face on it? System acronym. Where the hell did that come out?
Yeah, what the hell? You're taking Pace's like sayings? Come on.
I got all
these
these sayings from when I was in network marketing years ago that just like come out when I'm talking. They're just like in the subconscious. I don't even know where they come from.
I got you. But real quick, Jamil, I just got a text from a TTPer out of Utah. He needs to know who to talk to at Keegley in Utah. They just closed a really difficult deal, and he wants to say thank you because you guys got him a phenomenal price. And on a deal he didn't think he was going to make anything, he walked away $8,300, and Keegley walked him through the whole thing. So nice. That's Guy Russell out of Utah. So
he very likely was dealing with Phyllis Rodriguez, and she's an amazing lady. Fantastic. The shout out was great, and I'll let her know that.
It's right there.
Yep. Speaking of text messages, I just want to bring one up because Pace, is funny that you get these crazy ones. I got one today. No hello, no name, just
never, dude. It's like my reply always is, can you first introduce yourself? Like literally not even say your name.
No name, nothing. It just said, is text messaging, this was today at 2:41 p.m. Is text messaging legal? And I responded with, you're texting me right now and the police are outside. What the hell?
Oh my gosh, it's so good.
What am I supposed to say? It's awesome.
Text message today, just, hey B, what's up? Can I ask you a quick question?
You just did.
Yeah. I mean, I get it, but I mean, it's like, what's your name? I don't know who I'm talking. What?
Yeah, here's how you do it. You do it the way I actually saved the screenshot that Cody sent me years ago, or a couple years ago. My name is Cody Barton. I saw you on Steve Trang's show. I would like to bring you some value. Let me know when you can talk. That was it. That was it.
What was the one thing that weeded Cody out or made Cody stand out versus everyone else who blows your phone up every day?
Yeah, this is a story I tell all the time. So you guys can imagine, I already had a pretty big brand at the time, like Steve Trang. Him and I were going. I've been running around with all these guys for a couple of years before I was ever on Steve Trang's podcast. So I had a decent brand. So when I gave out my phone stupidly, I probably, no exaggeration, I think there was like 600 live viewers on that stinking thing. And I had probably 200 people text me. No exaggeration, 200 people. So I go through and I have OCD. You will never see an unread email, an unread text message from me, an unread DM ever. Like, I hate it. It drives me wild. So I go through, out of 200 text messages, I replied to one. Because 75% of them, like Jamil said, they don't even introduce themselves. Don't even introduce themselves. It happens every day. And I don't want to call people out, but I get people texting me like, hey, got your phone number from Steve Trang's podcast. They don't introduce themselves. They don't, whatever, right? So 75% of them, 150 people already out of the gate. Then the other 49 people, they're not coming with value whatsoever. It's what can you do for me? Cody was literally out of 200 people, the only person, I'm not exaggerating. I didn't even know anything about the kid. He was 24 at the time, so I can call him a kid. So he was the only one that actually led with value. Hey, I have leads. And what does a freaking closer want more than anything? I want leads like freaking crackheads want crack. Like I want leads. I want to be in an appointment. When Cody called me about 2 months ago, which he rarely ever runs into sellers, Cody's driving for dollars, runs into a house, seller calls him back off of a text message. And Cody's like, it's like a hot potato. He's like, I can't get rid of this fast enough. Calls me up. Please call the seller, right? This is years in the business now. I'm like salivating, bro, give me the phone number. I want to talk to the seller. So when he came to me and said, I have leads, I need some help closing them. Please let me know when you have some time to chat. I'll let you take all the money. Now, Cody, did I take all the money at all?
No, of course you didn't. You were like, dude, no, like you got to make money on it. I was happy to let you take it, but you're just like, dude, nah, you got to take it.
Right. So here's the funny thing is I left. I fly to West Palm Beach. I go to a Mark Evans event, who shout out Mark Evans. I love him. He's great, great guy. Mark Evans. I go to his event, pay $2,500 to basically sit in a room for a couple of days, meet like Donovan. Everybody knows Donovan from Texas. I become friends with Donovan at that thing. Masterminds are incredibly powerful, guys, by the way. I've been to Brent Daniels masterminds. Like masterminds are amazing. So I go out there, and between our breaks, right, we'd get these 15-minute breaks every 2 hours. I was calling Desiree every break, and it took me 2 days out of mastermind. So most people go and go, oh, I'm in mastermind mode. I'm just going to chill, or I'm on vacation or whatever. I'm like, I'm calling between my breaks, and I'm closing the deal. $80,000. Yannick Malcolm closed an $80,000 deal.
Come on.
Give her the bell, bro. So within a couple of days, Cody, I don't want to get too transparent on everybody, but Cody went from coming to me and going, dude, like I'm spending money on marketing. I know I have good leads. I know I can generate good leads. I have great data. I have sellers that are saying they're interested, but I need money. Like I'm running out of marketing budget. And so he came to me. This is another problem I think in this industry that we should probably have Cody come back and talk about some of these things, is that this industry teaches people that you have to be a closer to be successful in this business.
Nope.
Yeah.
Right? It's like every video that you ever see is like, you close deals, closers Olympics, and
it's that same Wolf of Wall Street mentality bullshit that doesn't work, and you end up alone or in jail or in addicted to drugs. It's stupid. It's dumb. Stop
right.
that.
So
shit.
Cody was convinced, and it's not that Cody's very charismatic, especially in front of a room. He's very, very good. It's not that Cody can't close a deal. It's that there are people that are like, I crave it, whereas Cody did not crave it. And so I was in the process of reading Rocket Fuel at the time. So I told Cody, I go, hey, if we work together, I don't want you ever talking to the sellers. Like you just team me up and I'll take it over from there. And that was it.
Say no more.
Right. So I'm telling you, I think integrators in this business, whether you're hired or whether you're a partner with somebody, are actually some of the most valuable people in this business. So if you guys are integrators, you need to take that test in Rocket Fuel, that book. And if you're an integrator, you got about a dime a dozen visionaries that would freaking like fight over each other to have you. You agree with that, everybody?
Yep.
100%.
Interesting stuff.
The stuff also that integrators do, we'll be on, like Pace, Brent, you're two visionaries, myself included in that pile. The stuff that Cody like truly enjoys doing, I can't sit long enough to do, right? I just couldn't do it. Yep. And it's the same with you, Pace. I'm sure it's the same with you, Brent. It's, you're these individuals like Cody or Hunter. These people are so good at what they do that when you find one, honestly, make sure that you squat up and you be fair and you be real and you really respect that relationship, because truthfully, you could come together and move mountains like that. So be very, very cognizant of how much respect you need to pay that relationship. Just saying that.
Love it.
Guys, would you get value out of bringing Cody back here sometime soon and actually having him open up like our Podio and showing you how the life of a lead flows from A to Z and all that kind of stuff, and showing you the inside look of a conveyor belt? Now, it takes, like, we typically, when we do our mastermind, it takes 2 full days to break all that stuff down. But Cody can give you guys an inside look of it on another wholesale hotline if everybody gets value out of that.
For sure. For sure. Yeah.
Cody, what's your Instagram so everybody can follow you that's not currently following you? Because I can see today we have about 40 or 50 people that are in the comments that have never actually tuned into the show. This is their first time on the show. And guys, we're nearly at 400 live viewers today between our Facebook group and YouTube live stream. So thank you guys so stinking much. Do us a favor, like, comment, share on these shows, and give us great reviews on iTunes and Spotify if you're getting value from us. I saw multiple people in here talking about how this show has changed their lives and their financial future. So give us some good reviews, guys.
Jamil, when is your show?
Which one are you talking about? My new comping show? It'll come. I'm going to start doing it next week, guys. I'm going to live stream. As you guys already know, I do a live stream with Ty the Flip Man, and we comp properties together, but I'm going to add an additional hour of it into my week, very likely on Wednesdays, where I just comp. You come to my YouTube channel. So if you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, go do it now. It's just Jamil Damji. Go subscribe to my YouTube channel, because I promise, it'll be a lot of value for you. I'm going to show you. You can bring your addresses. I'm just going to comp the whole hour. We're not even going to talk. No poop jokes, no fart jokes. We're just going to comp.
Nah, there's going to be some of those. Come on.
Wednesday at what time? I want our dispo girl on that.
I'll have it on the next wholesale hotline. The time Emily and I are just working through my schedule right now, but it'll be in the afternoon.
Pace, if people are interested in building a robust and healthy rental portfolio using creative resources, how do they, is there a live show that you do on a weekly basis for that?
Yeah, every Sunday. Actually, I've had multiple people in here asking creative finance questions. Guys, we do not cover creative finance questions too much. However, I think in about a month from now, because right now we're going from January, we're now into March. We've done the basics of wholesale. So you could go back to January 1 and catch up with all the wholesale hotline episodes, and you would be able to go through topic by topic by topic, turn like, what is wholesale? What does a contract look like? Here's a free contract, all the way up to today, talking a little bit about systems. I think we're going to have Cody come back in here and talk about systems again. And I would say in about a month, maybe in 6 weeks, we can talk about wholesaling creative finance deals, but we're not quite there yet. So I teach people how to do wholesale creatively. I teach people how to acquire property with $0 out of their pocket. Last night, we had an amazing Sunday service. And what I did is we bought a deal from a TTP student. She assigned it to us. She wholesaled a seller finance deal to us, a $500,000 property. Guess what the ARV on that house was? $500,000. We paid full freaking retail for it. And
happy to do it.
Happy to do it. I'm like, I feel like I'm in a warm blanket when I buy those deals. And we broke down, we pulled out our deeds of trust. We pulled out our settlement statements. We pulled out everything that you need to see on a closing document from a settlement statement standpoint on a seller finance creative deal. We do that kind of crap every Sunday, typically get about 300 to 500 live viewers Sunday night, 7 p.m. every single week without fail. And we freaking love it.
Awesome. And
by the way, I just secured Ron LeGrand, one of the godfathers of creative finance. Ron LeGrand is going to be coming on the show in a couple of weeks. So guys, tune into that. And I also have Robert G. Allen, another godfather of creative finance. He wrote a book. He's written so many amazing books. He's coming on Sunday service as well in 3 weeks.
Amazing. Brent, when's your show?
Wednesdays, 10 o'clock, Arizona time. Everything to do with real estate investing, heavy on wholesaling, heavy on everything. It's a show for you guys. A lot of questions are answered. And we just open it up. It's a really, really great time, really highly produced show. And I get real excited about it. So I'd love for you to join me on Wednesdays if you have some more questions that you need answered. And I'd love for you to join us there. So yeah, YouTube channel, 10 o'clock Wednesdays. It is absolutely bananas. It is the real instruction. And it's a lot of fun.
Guys, good show tonight. Cody, we'll have you come back and deep dive and give you an inside look of the actual inner workings of an operating business at a pretty high level. I think we just locked up like 3 or 4 contracts just in the first couple of days of this month. Actually, today's day 1. We got a land deal a couple of days ago. We've got another deal on the west side today.
You know who actually sold the land deal for us is Mr. TTP's guy, Jeremy.
Hey. Nice.
You got to love that. That was, bro, by the way, you guys, that was cold call from a VA. That was follow up from a VA and closed with basically with a VA all the way through. And you guys wholesaled it for us. And how much are we making on that, Cody?
12 grand on that one. Nice. You know, that's the nice base hit deal.
A little $12,000 to start off the month. Guys, I love all you guys. You're the freaking best. Jared Frankham, I think I'm going to see you tomorrow for a couple of hours.
I'll see you Wednesday, Jared.
That's right. Looking forward to it, fellas.
All right, guys. We'll see you next week.
Kelly texted and said that there's something that we want to try out here. So do you mind if I click it?
Click it.
Do it.